Mary and Dan. My father had two sisters, and Margaret and Rosie. And his father took a job as a gardener on a golf course, and that's how my father ended up growing up on a golf course. His father was the groundskeeper. He caddied and learned the game of golf at a young age, and although a lefty, he was given right-hand clubs, and to this day he plays golf right-handed, even though he's a lefty. In high school, he was captain of the golf team. His nickname was Hogan, and after graduation, he was off to challenge the golf world, playing in many tournaments, and he completed the program to be a teaching pro. He completed his apprenticeship and eventually earned his PGA, Professional Golf Association membership, which he is currently a lifetime member. The following years, he worked at several county clubs as an assistant golf pro, and then he got a little raucous there, and even more so,
Whoa!
my mother, who tamed the dragon, and that was his father. And then he had 3 kids, 2 sons and a daughter, and he watched them all get married. And Tim, that's Danny and his wife, and that's all of us at Danny's wedding. And then I got married. So all of us, he was able to watch us all get married, and he had 6 grandkids. And so as you continue on, I'm going to read more about what he was doing. He eventually became the lead golf pro at Packanack Lake Golf Club in Wayne, New Jersey. And while there, he took a 6-week sabbatical to play the golf tour throughout Florida. In tow with his family, including 2 little ones, they did this while traveling and living in a camper. He was also on the guest teaching staff of Golf Digest magazine. After several years as a club teaching pro, he switched to the other side of golf sales, and he started as a salesman for the Aureus Company. And in here, this is when we went to Ireland. My parents took us to Ireland about 30 years ago, and we met all of our family there. And then a couple years ago, he took his 2 grandkids and brought them back, Erin and Shannon, who are right here, and they re-met everyone with 2 of his grandkids, which was really special. I think that was from before. One thing about my father, these are his 2 sisters, that I remember is that he is very devoted to them. He always calls them, he always visits them if he's traveling up and down the coast, and here they are, we just met him at a diner in New Jersey. So, and he later went on to coach golf, and this is at the middle school. He started 2 golf teams, one at Cardinal Gibbons High School, which is here, and he coaches the high school girls, and then he coaches the middle school, and he's also he's taught his grandkids to play golf. Some of them have been on a golf team, some have just played once or twice and just loved it. So maybe they're not going to be golf pros, but they learned from their grandfather how to play golf, and we were just having a discussion. Once you learn how to play golf as a kid, you really never forget. And so there he's with my mother. Let me catch up here, and then I'll continue. So when he started working for Aureus Company with the Metropolitan New York, New Jersey, his territories, he eventually became president of the E.J. Manley Company. And this required a move to Florida, more traveling, Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Bermuda, and working with salespeople throughout the country. The first female salesperson for the county was hired by Dan. He finished girl power. Woohoo! He finished number 12 in USA for best merchandising concepts in Golf Digest. During his semi-retirement, he worked for 10 summers as director of golf at sports camps in Maine and New York, and he mentored a man named Kyle who wanted to be here today, who's a golf pro in South Carolina. And he was all packed ready to come with his wife, but there was a storm yesterday, and they moved the golf tournament to today. So that's the world of golf. So Kyle really wanted to be here, and he sends his wishes along with other people. So he started and coached the women's golf team at Cardinal Gibbons High School, which our kids go to, in Raleigh. And in the team's second year, they came second in the state tournament. He started and coached the middle school golf team at St. Mary Magdalene, and he coached Megan back there. And Mr. Hughes, Philip Hughes, at the same table, he assisted my dad, and his son was on the team, as well as Liam and Aiden, who were on the team for a certain period as well. My dad also started and ran 2 fundraising golf tournaments. Coach on High School in New Jersey is still in existence, the other in Florida. And he has been blessed to be married to my mother for 55 years. And if you know Irishmen, if they get a good Irish woman behind them, or a good strong woman of any kind, then they will be successful. And Irish men are good men. They're devoted to their family, most of them, and my father was, and incredible work ethic, devoted to his family, his parents, his sisters, to always visit his sisters whenever he could. I mean, what brothers do that, nowadays? Not all of them. And to have that special thing, that's what I always remember about my dad. And so I'm so glad to celebrate his 80th birthday. But something I'll also, let's give him a round of applause. Something as well, but my parents being married for 55 years, that is very special because staying married for 55 years, as most of you know, is not easy. And it takes a lot of challenges. So I want to celebrate your being married to each other. So just hold on 1 second. Because at one time, which my granddaughter just saying, wow, Grandpa, he was pretty good looking, wasn't it? She's all these pictures that I see, and he was pretty smoldering. He had that rough kind of look to him, and he also got in fights in high school, lost some of his teeth that are still fake. And as you can see, drank maybe a little, got some coconut bras, and he did a lot of fun things. But then he met Dorothy. And Dorothy and him have had, my mom, have had 55 years of having us traveling the world, having a variety of different careers. She was a nurse, and he was a golf pro. And, two professions that don't make a lot of money, but we did everything. And they taught me how to raise my kids and do everything. This is when they traveled in that camper with the kids and the 2 boys, Tim and Danny. And then they added on, so they've been through a lot together, living in New Jersey, moving to Florida, and then eventually moving here to North Carolina. And being exhausted. And some of my favorite pictures of them is coming up. This one. This is my favorite picture of my parents because they're just so in the moment, so enjoying each other's company, and it hasn't been, it's not easy to stay with someone that long. And my parents are devoted to each other. They will always be together, and they've been a great role model for me and my kids, and it's great to see. So today, we celebrate not only my dad's 80 years, but also my dad being married for 55 years. Wow. And that's a long time. My dad's accomplished a lot, and I'm so glad we did this today because not only having you all here today, but also preparing for this has taught my kids and all the grandkids and reminded us all that how much he did accomplish. And it's really good to look back and remember all the things that he did. So Tim, my brother, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. First, I'm not sure that camper was speaking when he took us around.
Pretty shabby.
I just want to say that I hope when I get 80 years of age, I'll be have to be on my father's now.
Danny, this is my brother Danny. You want to say something?
That was good.
Danny went into sales business too, and so he spent a lot of time with my father, working together for years and years, and I think my father taught him a lot about sales, so that was pretty neat. And another person that worked close with you, Dad, Bud Farrar couldn't make it. He was upset he couldn't make it, but his daughter was in a ballet competition, his granddaughter, so he sent a video, and I like to show you that. It's a little choppy, but hold on one moment. Sorry, guys.
happens to be National Selfie Day, so I decided to use high tech to wish you a happy birthday. I sure wish I could be there. Our granddaughter is in a national competition in ballet in Charleston today, and of course that's just a family must. But today is a day of surprises for you. First, I'm surprised you're 80. How did you get to be 80? Secondly, I'm surprised I'm almost 68. I guess the real reason I called is just to wish you a happy birthday and to let you know how important you have been as a role model to me growing up. Whether it's integrity, honesty, work ethic, or a model of a father that was dedicated to his family. It's all special, and you're special. I've got so many good memories I could talk about, but just a few. I remember one night we worked late and did inventory, and you treated me to Dan's Steakhouse. It's the first expensive restaurant I think I've ever been to. And you paid, so it was terrific. You were always generous, taking me to different golf courses I would have never had a chance to play. I remember you took me to the Monster in Kiamisha Lake where I hit the Verbal was pro, and that certainly was a treat. Number 18 was a monster, I do remember that. I remember one time we went to Metuchen Country Club in a junior tournament, and somehow I missed about a 12-inch putt uphill, which still haunts me to this day. We played several courses, worked together, played together, practiced together. It was just a great youth. If I had to do it again, I'd want to do it the same way. I really am surprised that we haven't seen each other in the past few years, and I'll make sure, since we're building a home in North Carolina, we're going to be traveling up there several times, that we'll match calendars and make sure that we get together and have a chance to spend some time together. Dan, happy birthday. I hope it's a great one. You deserve it.
Since my parents moved here, uprooted after how many years in Florida? 23, I don't know. They moved up here and started over, and then they met great people in the neighborhood. And one of them's here tonight, Wally, and he liked to say a few words, come up. And then if anyone else wants to say, remember a story after he's done, please let us know afterwards. Here you go, Wally.
I do have the distinction of being the only witness to Dan's most recent hole-in-one. I'm not saying the last one because he's still got a few in him, I think. But it was at number 4 at Knight's Play. Wasn't one of those little short ones, 102 or 105 yards. He got a hole-in-one on the second longest hole in the course, playing about 200 yards that day. And he hit, and this is, I love golf, and I'm Irish as well. I'm from Kingston County, Mayo. But he hit just the most beautiful, professional grade draw, landed on the green, rolled up there, and it's the only hole-in-one that I've never seen. We didn't see it coming. Went over the hill. You didn't see it either. We went up there. We didn't see it anywhere. Of course, you checked the hole, and there it was. But that's the only hole-in-one I've ever witnessed, and it was a joy being with you at that time. When I was asked to maybe share, I decided to Google Irish poems. Irishmen are known for their poetry. William Butler Yeats and Burns and others. And I did not know that the limerick is of Irish origin. Because there's a limerick, Ireland there. But the limerick, which is a form of a poem, is Irish. But I Googled Irish poems, and this is one that I just had to share. May those who love you, and those who don't, may God turn their hearts. And if he doesn't turn their hearts, may he turn their ankles so you know them by their length. Here's one, it was Irish philosophy. So, I know that you probably applied this before because you're a great man, Dan, and you're still applying it because this is this Irish philosophy that I found. There are only two things to worry about. Either you are well or you're sick. And if you're well, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're sick, there are two things to worry about. Either you'll get well or you'll die. And if you get well, there's nothing to worry about. If you die, there are two things to worry about. Either you'll go to heaven or hell. And if you go to heaven, there's nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you'll be so damn busy shaking hands with all your friends, you won't have time to worry. So why worry? Irish philosophy. But I had to, I decided to write a double limerick in honor of you, Dan. There once was an Irishman, Dan O'Rourke from County Antrim, who between sunrises and sunsets golfed in the interim. Well, he ended up teaching others who became excellent ball strikers and putters, and to this day, all those he taught still love him. He didn't just teach them how to swing and score low. By example, he showed them how to win without ego. He gives all he has to give, knowing that's the only way to live. By his family, friends, and neighbors, he's heralded in Irish magnificence. Magnifico. And you are, Dan, because the first time that anybody tried to inform me about who you were, it was in this club. I used to work, I was a volunteer starter and ranger at the Gregor Downs Country Club for a dozen years. And so I wasn't getting paid, I was a volunteer, but I could play the course for free once a week. And that was a dream that never came true. I never played once a week, but I played a couple times a month, and I was able to bring Dan as a guest whenever his schedule allowed, and it was always a pleasure to play it. But I think it may have been the second or third time that Dan came and we played together, that the head professional at that time pulled me aside and said, do you know who Dan is? And I said, well, yeah, he's my neighbor. And he said, no, do you know who Dan is? And I'm thinking, well, what is he, some serial killer? And he said, he's big. He's not just a PGA teaching pro. He was a CEO of a top apparel company. And in my mind, I said, wow, I didn't know that. And as I walked away, I thought, well, that's Dan. He could be the president of the universe, and he's not going to tell you what position he held. He's not going to tell you and talk about himself. And that's one thing I really, truly love about you, Dan, the humility of your heart. But the second thing that I thought about was the comment that gentleman made about who you are based on a position that you have. And that's not what makes a person who they are. It's not what you do that makes you. It's how you do it. And I love how you do what you do, Dan.
I'm glad you break it up.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I go over and I watch him strap on ice packs so he can mow his lawn because he's got work ethic. So I didn't know you when you were CEO of Manly, but I know what kind of work ethic you brought to that company and what kind of an example you set for others to follow in working hard. Instead of going the easy route, hiring someone to mow the lawn with a little bit of pain, that's okay, he's still gonna work it. I wasn't around when you raised your children, but I've been around to watch you put your whole heart into teaching young girls like the young lady back there and others at the schools that you worked at and taught these kids not just how to play golf, but how to live life. And I know right away how you raise your children and the influence you have on your grandkids. It's just an honor to be a neighbor to someone as kind as you, and as humble, and as generous of giving your time and talent. And above all, maybe it's just your personal integrity that you do everything with. And so it's an honor to be a neighbor, and on behalf of all our neighbors up and down Chimney Hill Drive, happy 80th birthday, and may God bless you.
So there was quite a few people who wanted to come. Tom Krieger sends best wishes. Trish and Jeff Brown, happy birthday. Wayne Schwister from Wisconsin, have a great celebration for a special man and my good friend. Ken Hamilton from Knights Play, best wishes. Larry Wise from Pennsylvania, my thoughts will be with you on this day. Robert Harper, best wishes, and Bud sent the video. And Ron and Teddy Benetti from Ohio, congratulations on your 80th birthday, which my dad just saw them. And then, Mr. Bill Campbell, you've known them for, 35 years. Our kids, they introduced each other from, because I knew their sons, so.
This is very unusual for me, that. Very shy.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, and what you get. We've been talking the last few days, we hadn't seen each other for a while, we might take different directions and whatever, but, just a few quick stories. Dan, when we were in Florida, we got to be friends playing, Dan used to take me to different golf courses. And, the one that he took me to that, it was just unbelievable. He took me to this course called Old Marsh. And he says to me when we get to the course, I said, well, what do we do? He said, well, we're being calm. I said, well, what do I do? He said, tip anything that moves. Anything that moves. And a lot of y'all may not know this name, but we're there and we open the trunk of the car and this guy comes over to take the bags. The guy who takes the bags out of the car, his name is Angelo. Anybody have any idea who Angelo was? Jack Nicklaus's caddy. And he started with Jack, he was with him forever, and he takes our bags out of the car. Then we play the blue tees. 3 guys that really know what they're doing. And I couldn't even hit it over everything was water. He must have enjoyed that day because I think I put 12 balls in the water. Couldn't get over it. It was fun meeting him. Another story, and then I'll get to the best one. Dan was telling me about a new set of golf clubs. This is probably 25 years ago, 30 years ago. A new set of clubs was going to revolutionize the golf business called Featherlights. And Dan tells me, these Featherlights are unbelievable, and I can get you a great buy with them. And he's playing Featherlights. And he says, these clubs are absolutely amazing. So he got me this great deal on Featherlights, and they show up at my house, they put them in my bag. He calls me, we go out to play golf. I look in his bag, he's got Titleist in his bag. You remember? You probably don't even remember that. So what happened to the Featherlights? I got him. But I think of Dan all the time, and I can't tell you how many times I tell this story. But he took me to what is probably, people that are really into golf, probably the greatest golf tournament that was ever played. And if you ask people and they sit there and really think about it, the 1986 Masters was the last golf tournament that Jack Nicklaus won on the regular tour. And he came out of nowhere. It wasn't just a regular finish, right, Dan? He came out of nowhere. And his son was caddying for him. So it was just an unbelievable day. And Greg Norman, who had a lot of problems, he's coming up the 18th hole. He's tied with Nicklaus. Everybody else is finished. He's the only one that has a chance. And Dan says to me, he will choke. He said he'll never be able to get his par. And he said he's going to hit it right in the green. He's going to hit it up on the hill. And I'm telling you, it was like a script. He hits the ball, slices it up on the hill, knocked it on the green, 2 putts for a 5, and Nicklaus won by 1 stroke. But it's a tournament. I have pictures of it at home, and I think about it so often. And when I watch the Masters, and anybody that's really interested in golf, the opportunity to go to the Masters is just unbelievable. And today it's the most difficult ticket in sports to go to the Masters. It's just it's unbelievable. And in terms of his character, Dan is just he's just unbelievable. He is just a tremendous man with a great wife and family. And then I haven't seen him in a while. I see the grandkids and the way they come around and whatever. And to the grandkids, I'll tell you something. You have no idea, believe have no idea how much you mean to your grandparents. You may say, well, I know, they love you, whatever. You have no idea. So whenever you have the opportunity to give them a hug or call them or whatever and tell them how much you love them, do it. Because it means so very, very much. And just so happy that my wife and I had the opportunity to be here. And Dan, I thank you for your friendship and again, the opportunity to be here.
So one of the neat things is to watch is how my dad's relationship with each of the grandkids is just totally different. From Shannon being the oldest and how their relation started and how it evolved, and then to Erin and then Patrick and my boys, Liam and Aiden and Molly. And he has a different relationship. And when my kids were a little bit younger, so I was working, he would drive them around, he still drives them around, picks them up at their friend's house and takes them here wherever I need them. And it's just, I couldn't imagine over the years if he wasn't around to help me do this. But when I married my husband, his father just died. And so I never met him. And so my father has been like a father to my husband. And it's been really nice for them to watch that. So Tim, I was wondering if you want to say your drinking buddy here. Your Irish Bushmills drinking buddy here.
I haven't, but I didn't think I'd be called to say anything. About 19 years ago, I met Dan, and it wasn't very long after I met him that I went over there on a Saturday morning, knocked on his front door, and asked his permission to marry his daughter. So ever since then, we've been a team, kind of. He has been a substitute father for me after my dad passed away, and he's been such a great role model for my kids. And like she said, he has a different way of treating all the grandkids. With Danny's kids and my kids, and each one of them he treats differently and treats them special, and I very, very much appreciate that. And I know he's turning 80, but I expect him to be here for another 15, 20 years. Happy birthday, Dan.
Dad, would you like to come up and say a few words? Are you able to?
Well, I didn't think I'd ever be able to say anything and get through it. And I don't know still if I can get through it. But, well, first of all, it has to start with mom and dad. I had great parents. Bear with me. My dad was a self-made man from Ireland. I spent a lot of time with my father. My dad, you saw one of the pictures, he had a buggy there, the golf course. My father never went out. He didn't have to drive on the highway to his work. He took the buggy from 2 holes away from the clubhouse up to the clubhouse. And I always grew up with him a lot, and loved the caddy master. He says so all the time. And finally, he gave up, saying no to me, let me start caddying at 10. The bag was bouncing off the ground. It was killing me. A skinny little kid. And so finally today, he let me caddy. I went up with my dad at 7:30 in the morning. About 7:30 at night, my parents were looking out the back door, one of the fairways, and I'm coming running up. And $5 single dollars in my hand. I had gone 45 holes that day. The only reason I stopped because it was dark. Otherwise, I would have kept caddying. I got 75 cents for each 9 holes, so a 25-cent tip. So I made $5. I do have my dad's work ethic. I really could work anybody under the ground. I just enjoy doing things. If it wasn't for the automobile accident that we were in a number of years ago, my back deteriorated, I'd be still playing golf, really. But, and I do cut the grass, and I do have to put ice on it, otherwise stayed in the service for 4 years to keep communism out of the United States. So, that was a dedicated man to his kids. So, I wrote him a letter, and he answered me back, and he said, yes, you can marry my daughter, but you can't marry her for a year. Because we're in Italy right now, and we get transferred next year. So I was living in Harrison, New York, working at Ridgeway Country Club in White Plains, and no, I haven't gotten there yet, but anyway, I was getting there. And Dorothy was in Fort Lee, New Jersey, with 2 other nurses working at Chloe Medical Center. So I saw her, my day off was Monday, so I come down on Mondays, and we get together. And we did that, and then I went away to Florida to work for a guy for the winter. And I came back 5 months later, and I think that's when I asked you to marry me, right? And she, I don't know why she said yes, because I was the deadest menace of the world. And in fact, in school, my sisters had a great reputation, and it was me, after my sisters. I got in a lot of troubles. So, in April that year, her father and mother come back. I got it mixed up a little bit here, but bear with me. And they get transferred to California from Italy. So she makes all the arrangements. Okay, she does the wedding, everything. They fly in the night before the wedding. They come to the church, okay, in Jersey, in Fort Lee, New Jersey. So I meet my mother and father-in-law the night before. Why? Dorothy had arranged everything, the wedding and everything. And a good Irish wedding, our bill was $800 and some for the food, $800 and some for the liquor. Most of the people there at the wedding was her family. The Burns had uncles and aunts and cousins all over the place. And I had my mom and dad, 2 sisters, and a couple people. Out of the 97, it was probably 90% her family drinking. So, we got married, we traveled 6 different homes we've had. We've never been in a neighborhood as nice as we are. It's the last stop. And, she's put up with my Irish shenanigans for 55 years. And that's, she needs it now 4 times over, because I'm not that easy. I'm always right, and she's always right. So, it's one of those things, right, Bill? Both right, right? No, but it started with mom and dad, and my dad didn't speak a lot. He was a very gentle man, but he, by osmosis, he gave me my character. Just watching my father. Unfortunately, he died young. So when I got to his age, I was really skeptical about whether I didn't have that heart condition too. But I got past it, and 20 years later, I'm still alive. You know. But the whole character was set up by my father, and the way he did things, and his handshake to a man was his word. So my first 2 golf jobs, I never signed a contract. I just put my hand out and he said, "I want a contract." I said, "No, I give you my word. You know, I'm going to be here." And I never had an argument with my dad. I was never disrespectful. I just love my parents because they brought me into the world. They had food and I had clothes on, etc. And I just had a great life. I grew up in the country. We had chickens and lived on a golf course, and never wanted to be anything but a golf professional. And I think my mother probably said a lot of prayers to Mary in heaven to make sure that I could make it, because I wasn't going to make it as a scholar. Thank you. My children, you met, my firstborn is Timothy, okay? And his wife Kathy are here in Florida. That was a long ride. And my second son, Andy, who's claiming today that he is the first. He didn't come 13 months later. I don't know how he gets claimed the first. But, and the raising his children, Shannon, Aaron, Patrick, and my grandson Liam, Aiden, Molly. Who else have I forgotten?
No.
You think when you're young that you have eternity to live, but my life has gone so fast. I never thought I was going to get to 80. And life has gone so fast. I know that I'm on the last turn, but 15 years ago I asked God to give me 25 more years at that time, 15 years ago, because I wanted to watch these kids grow up. So I have got that, and plus he gives me another 10. I'll be seeing if they make any errors or not, go off the road or not. But life's full of mistakes. If you learn from your mistake, one of the good things about my work ethic is, Bud Farrar said, when I got my head job, Bud Farrar was the young man that worked for me and did everything for me. And that's why we're close. And the young man that I mentored who's out in Myrtle Beach is a young man at camp that I took under my wing. And I've only recommended 2 golf professionals in my life that I thought were up to the standard that I held for everybody, and work ethic and just being a good character and a person. And that was Kyle, who couldn't come, and Robert Harper, who was our PGA president of the Carolina section, and he couldn't come today. I'm a very lucky man to live so long and have so many good people, to have 3 children that are doing great with their lives, and their grandchildren, and great friends. Probably have I forgotten anybody?
Let's raise a glass. And in Ireland we say sláinte, which is Gaelic for cheers. So I like to raise a glass for my dad. If anyone wants to have some honey whiskey in a few minutes, stop by Dan's table. So sláinte, everybody. Cheers.
Bushmill, been in their factory. Great whiskey from Ireland.
Happy birthday.